Capitalism rocks. Aristotle knew that 2000 years before it started producing its magnificent fruits. The most brilliant ancient philosopher gave us 5 arguments in support of private ownership: economic, sociological, anthropological, historical, and moral. Let's start with the definition. Capitalism is the freedom of ordinary individuals to exercise dominion over external things in exclusion of other people. It recognizes our unalienable human right to acquire property in land and capital. Unlike socialism, defined as communal ownership of the means of production, capitalism creates the necessary incentives for good stewardship. Wastefulness, pollution, environmental degradation, and resource depletion are endemic to socialistic societies, where private property rights over the productive resources are not recognized. When the land is owned collectively and governments control the commanding heights of the economy, the natural outcome is the tragedy of the commons. Compared to socialism, capitalism results in higher efficiency and superior productivity. Thus, socialism leads to stagnation and poverty, while capitalism generates economic and social progress. When many unrelated people share ownership in valuable resources, everyone tries to extract as much benefit as available for themselves and put in as little effort as possible. Free riding becomes rampant and goodwill disappears. Socialistic societies get balkanized and fall apart in bitter internal strife. The lack of private property makes everyone unhappy except the most selfish and vicious people. When all receive according to need, most grumble that they worked harder but received less than another. Capitalism restores social peace because it produces just outcomes. It establishes direct link between effort and reward. When individuals acquire dominion over parts of creation by mixing their labor with it or by voluntary exchanges, the lazy fall into poverty and the prudent achieve success. Socialism fails because it rests on an anthropological falsehood. It naively assumes that the abolition of private property will eliminate greed. Capitalism, on the other hand, recognizes, civilizes, and channels our self-interest in a socially beneficial way. Private property, noted Aristotle, is clearly implanted in man's flawed but immutable nature. Our love of self, combined with the necessity to provide for the material needs of our families, naturally align with our desire to call part of creation our own. Aristotle was also aware that private property had been the economic foundation of all ancient civilizations. To go in the opposite direction and rebuild society on communal property would be to ignore all lessons learned by the human race through experience. The only socialistic state in his day was Sparta, and it produced nothing but war. Today we have the advantage of learning from 100 more socialist tragedies. As a product of his time, Aristotle believed that the good life is one dedicated to the pursuit of virtue. That's why his most powerful argument for the superiority of capitalism over socialism is a moral one. 22 centuries before Mill, he noted that virtue is impossible without free choices. Private property provides the opportunity to act morally. Sharing with the poor something that you can choose to keep for yourself is the only way to practice the virtue of charity.